some of the pre-qual letters.
It makes all the difference. I mean, people that think that the big banks are
The only direct lenders.
their only direct lenders and are their friends are finding out.
So that's a big direct lender.
It's not.
Oh,
really.
excuse me. Well, that's why I applaud Platinum
Put
joining
it on the
RPM
pre-approval
because
letter.
I personally
At the
know I'm a
bottom,
long-time
the direct
FHA
lender.
guy, and
Platinum
I
lender.
knew that that's where it was. Back in the mid-'90s, direct lenders were the show. Back during the last bank crisis, and I knew we needed to be a direct lender to compete because obviously, to me, the broker business channel is under attack with all these new rules and changes and guidelines. And REO properties, they won't even look at your offer unless you have an approval from a direct lender. They don't even want to look at broker approvals.
You know what's really interesting about that requirement is that they require you to go through B of A or Wells Fargo or a major bank, and their turn down ratios are far higher than ours. You know, because they're under the impression that this big bank, if they can't do it, nobody can. Well, obviously, we in this room know that that's obviously not true. But it's kind of funny how those come up, and there's lots of borrowers that we've approved that the big banks haven't.
Interesting.
Another real big change that I really propose, 99% of all people that are considering turning their existing property to a rental and then renting that out and then buying another place, I would strongly advise against that unless they can really support both payments. Because a lot of people have this illusion, hey, I'm going to be a landlord, it's all great, but it's really going to put a lot of pressure on their qualifying ability. A lot of pressure.
Right.
They're going to really even closely analyze those ratios even further.
Do you know what the tax implications are for the person gifting the money and the person receiving the gift?
Well, you can give up to $11,000 a year. I just had someone last night, one of my 3 borrowers. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
All right. You can
Stay for the quiz.
$11,000 per person can be gifted without a gift tax.
Okay.
But I think that's up to 12 this year.
Is it 12? Okay.
And if parents are giving it to a married kid,
You do 12,000 each person.
12,000 each person, so that's 4 times the 12,000 they can gift without having any tax consequences.
Oh, because each parent can
Each
give
parent
to each
can give
child.
to
Yeah.
the daughter and the
Husband-in-law.
son-in-law or son and daughter-in-law, whatever, can give 12,000, and then the other parent can do the same thing.
Got it.
So yeah, you can give 48,000 without
48,
incurring a gift tax liability. Now, some people too in this depressed market have that question: can I pay over the appraised value? Because if the value of the contracted sale price is $500,000 and the appraised for $490, the new loan will be based on the $490 value, but the buyer can bring in that extra $10,000. I've had that question come up, so I'll bring that up as well. No longer it's as is; it's whatever the appraiser requires to be repaired, and FHA requires an inspection. Don't ever waive that right. I think that's foolish to not have it. Even if they waive it, there's still potential liability there.
So even these listings that are coming on the bottom, they always say as is, as is. So that really
That's
It's
the
just
old way to
wording.
do it. Yeah, it's never as is with FHA.
With
And
a chance on what risk condition.
okay. So that's why.
And I think conventional is getting more to that direction
Well, that
as
would be good.
well. They're still requiring some repairs, or I just think it's gone are the days of being able to pass the seller's nightmare to the buyer. And I think that's another reason why we're in this mess. Did 100% financing, sell it as is. We don't really need to tell them what the roof's about to collapse. And
They had no money.
yeah, and 2 months later they have no money, and then they have to pay $15,000 to do and then 6 months later they're in foreclosure. That's a scenario that's played out over and over again.
It's been awful.
So I think those are those major points. And
Great.
I'm here
Thank you
open
very
for
much.
questions.
That's great. Thank you.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you. All right. Check those FHA offers when they
Yeah.
If I have a listing, I have an FHA offer on it, and they seem to be. Everything seems to be in order. Does it make sense to have the potential buyer app with you as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
9 times out of 10, they would rather go with me or grant than a broker out in the valley
Okay.
or even B of A or Wells Fargo.
What was that? So you were saying if you have a listing and you
Yeah,
get
much
an
more-
Well, I have
FHA
this listing in
offer,
Wilmington, I've got a bunch of offers, and the one we're gonna look at the closest is an FHA.
so you want to double that.
Well, I think it sounds like it'd be a good idea, because I don't know that lender, and I
Right.
have to find out if they're direct
If
lenders.
they're brokers, I think you have a huge issue.
I think if they're a broker, I'm gonna just avoid them.
Right. Because
Counter with that.
you can counter and say,
Put it in a
sure, I
counter
have a
offer.
direct lender.
How would you find out? Yeah, okay.
I would
If I- Absolutely.
call the lender and ask if they're direct lender, or the person who's approving the loan, or
Right.
pre-approving the loan.
And that's really the key
It
element.
sounds like it's.
So now, just
Yeah.
don't